Tanahashi.
What is up, YouTube? This is Tanahashi back with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile video. This time I'll be showing you the changes and updates to my Krawler deck. I was going to update this build sooner after we got the new God tier Krawler support piece, but I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything in the Weevil Underwood support that got leaked that might help push this deck further, and unfortunately, there wasn't. So despite this and a couple of ratios being adjusted, the deck's gonna look pretty much identical to the last version. And I don't normally like doing build updates unless there's been a significant change, but I think we can all agree that this change is definitely significant. And you'll see what I mean when we take a closer look. Starting with the monsters, we have a pair of Krawler Axon. Now I'm gonna save everyone some time and say that every level 2 Krawler has a pair of hard once per turn effects, a unique flip effect for each one, and a common effect they all share. When they are face up and removed from the field by an opponent's card effect, they can each special summon 2 new Krawlers from the deck in face down defense, all 3 of which have to have different names. The pair of Axon's flip effect targets and destroys any spell trap. The playset of Gleal's flip effect special summons any Krawler except Gleal from your hand or graveyard in face up attack or face down defense. The pair of Ranveer's flip effect returns up to 2 Krawlers from your graveyard back to your hand. The playset of Receptor's flip effect adds any Krawler monster from your deck to your hand, including a copy of itself. And the playset of Spine's flip effect targets and destroys any monster. We have a playset of the all-new Krawler Soma, and holy shit is he an amazing piece. As a hard once per turn, he can both target and flip down any Krawler monster you control to special summon himself from your hand, and by reducing his level by 2 or 4, he can special summon Krawlers from the hand, deck, or graveyard with the same total level as what he lost, in face up or face down defense position. And we have one Deus Ex Krawler, which sadly doesn't interact with Soma directly, but he is still absolutely integral. While face down, if the opponent targets him with a card effect, he can flip himself up, negate that effect, and destroy it. And while he's face up after being flipped by any means, all monster effects activated on the opponent's side of the field are automatically negated. Next is the spell cards. 1 Call by the Grave, 1 Monster Reborn. We have a playset of Pot of Extravagance, and I know it looks wonky in a deck that actually cares about using its extra deck, but it's only temporary until Prosperity becomes affordable. At the start of main phase 1, you banish 3 or 6 random face down extra deck monsters face down, and for every 3 you deleted, you draw a card, but you can't draw cards for the rest of the turn. 1 Terraforming. We have a playset of World Legacy and Shadow, a fun setup and punishment field spell. All Krawlers gain 300 attack and defense. Once per turn, you can special summon a level 2 or lower insect from hand in face up or face down defense, and if your flip monster ever dies in battle, the opponent's monster that killed it gets sent straight to the graveyard. We have a playset of World Legacy Survivor, a dedicated filter card. As a hard once per turn, it excavates the top 5 cards of the deck, adds any 1 Krawler monster or World Legacy card among them to your hand, then sends the rest to the grave. Or, if you didn't pick one, they all get shuffled back into the deck. Either way, if you play this, you can only link summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. And we have a pair of Wormbait, because 3 was actually becoming a little bricky. If you control an insect monster, this summons a pair of 1-star worm tokens, but you can't summon level 3 or 4 monsters the turn you play it. Then it's the trap cards. First, we have a playset of Infinite Impermanence, and I have been very vocal about my hatred of hand traps in this game, but I have to acknowledge that they are necessary even in casual levels now, and this is the only one I don't feel disgusted playing generically. It targets and negates a monster effect on the opponent's field. It can be played from the hand if you control no cards, but if you set it and flip it up, all other spell trap effects in the same column as this card are negated for the rest of the turn. We have a playset of World Legacy Pawns, an accelerator and reloader. As a hard once per turn, it either targets and flips up a set monster you control, or shovels a Krawler monster in the graveyard back into the deck to target and flip down a face-up monster you control. And we have a playset of World Legacy's Mind Meld, a card designed to give them something akin to negation and retribution. As a heart once per turn, it can either, while you control a Krawler monster, change an opponent's activated monster effect to return one opponent's face-up monster to the hand.
That just ain't right.
Or you can banish the trap itself from the graveyard to target a link monster pointing to your field, and special summon a Krawler monster face down from your hand, deck, or graveyard to one of the zones it points to. Next we move into the side deck. We have a playset of Blizzard to handle some of those spells that can't be responded to by monster effects. We have a playset of Dark Ruler No More, which was a staple already in most of my side decks. We have a pair of Cosmic Cyclone and one Harpy's Feather Duster because I'm not completely sold on the idea of using Lightning Storm in this just yet. We have a playset of Raigeki for the same reason as the Cosmic and Duster. And we have a playset of Goes and Mash to help even out some of those one-sided games. And finally, we finish with the extra deck. We have a pair of Bee Trooper Armor Horn, an extender in two distinct ways. It only lets you summon insects while face up, and as a hard once per turn, it both gives you an additional normal summon of an insect monster, and if it's in the graveyard, it can banish 3 insects from the grave to resummon itself, but it will be banished if it leaves the field. We have a pair of Nightmare Cerberus, because the deck needs more removal and overall protection. On linked summon, it discards to target and destroy a special summon monster in the main monster zones, it draws a card if it's co-linked on resolution, and your co-linked monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects. We have a playset each of X-Krawler Neurogos and X-Krawler Synaphysis, brother cards with only slight variances. All the Krawler links share one common effect. If it's destroyed by battle or removed from the field by an opponent's card effect, except sent back to the extra deck of course, they can each special summon 2 different named Krawler monsters from your graveyard in face-down defense. In addition, Neurogos and Synaphysis both give Krawlers they point to 300 attack and defense and prevent them from dying in battle. But Neurogos requires 2 insects and gives Krawlers it points to double battle damage, and Synaphysis requires 2 earth monsters and lets Krawlers it points to attack twice. We have a playset of X-Krawler Qualiarch, the superior link monster and their dedicated win condition piece. It requires 2 Krawlers, has the same resummoning effect as the other 2 Krawler links, and it gains effects depending on how many face-up Krawler monsters you control. 2 or more gives all your monsters 300 attack and defense, 4 or more prevents the opponent from activating effects during the battle phase, and 6 or more lets all your monsters attack directly. And finally, we have a pair of Giant Bee Trooper Invincible Atlas, the Big Bug Beat Stick. You can only special summon insects while it's face up, it cannot be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects while it has 3000 or less attack, and as a hard once per turn, you contribute an insect to either summon a Bee Trooper from the deck or give him 2000 attack points for the turn. And that is the deck! Like I said at the start, the build has only seen minor changes. Xtrav offering draws and Soma offering hyperextension are obviously fantastic additions, but the deck still looks identical from the prior build, so why did I update it again now? Because despite the looks, Soma changed a lot about how the deck plays. It summons itself off minimal field presence, sets up a dream board with virtually no cost, and acts as a fantastic mid-boss that is both searchable and recoverable through numerous methods. And thanks to him, Qualiarch's multiple effects are all far easier to achieve than they have ever been before. It obviously doesn't fix every issue with the deck because it's a flip deck and is inherently slow, but the card is still incredible and deserves to be celebrated because of its existence. I thank you for watching the deck profile video. If you can think of any ways to improve this All-Earth deck, feel free to let me know. In the meantime, this has been Anashi, signing out.
Thank you.